So yeah, you can make a leaf staff with a tir and a roll rune in like a staff that you can buy in Act 1, and try to use the smaller staff. It's faster, so you're gonna lay down the traps faster also. Yeah, I suggest to put 2 points in a burst of speed, because with that type of weapon, the traps are going to be quick. And otherwise, all the points go in Fire Blast and later in Wake of Fire. And Wake of Fire is, I mean, it just demolishes the game until later in Act 4. And yeah, so when you reach Act 4 Nightmare, you'll see that the Wake of Fire is, even with the leaf staff, the damage just drops like crazy, and it becomes complicated. So that's when I suggest to switch to the kicker. So, but at first you're like a weak kicker. Only 1 point in Dragon Talon, and 20 in Dead Sentry, 17 Light Sentry, 1 in Mind Blast, 1 in Burst of Speed, and 1 in the Warrior. And at that point, you're mostly a trapper, but you can use Dragon Talon with, I'll show the weapon later, but against the boss, you use Crushing Blow to destroy them faster, while using traps also, which is pretty neat. Yeah, at level 57, I show what happens. And at that point, you can see that I put a lot of points in the Dragon Talon. You're at 11, and you're for sure at L. I usually just go in at level 50 at L, or a bit, yeah, especially in Softcore, I don't mind dying, so I just rush. And I suggest a 3 point in Mind Blast to have a nice conversion rate. And of course, Lightning Sentry at that point should be pretty much maxed. And level 70, so for the Ubers, I suggest 11 in Fade. Gives you a nice resist. And the rest I just drop in the Shadow Warrior. But you could just max Fade also, because it's going to be, well, 20 Fade is going to be better against the Ubers. But having a better Shadow Warrior means she dies less often. Okay. So the gear. Yeah, you can go with a lower helm. I also suggest a Ral helm, because in Act 3 it can be nice to have some fire resist, and when you're gonna do the nail attack runs, yeah, 60 fire resist is cool. 2 Flout Topaz helm is another cheap alternative. But for Uber Mephisto, you need like a 3 Ort helm. And otherwise, Bulwark generally is a really nice helm, but it's tougher to get, because 3 open sockets, you need IO, you need Sol is easy to get, but IO is sort of not that easy to get. Sorry. So afterward, yeah, I got problems scrolling. Yeah, the armor, I just go with stealth. But against Uber Mephisto, you need like Duress, or there's 3 kinds of unique armor with open wounds on them, so you can use that. The weapon, I really like to use Strength, either in a Scimitar or a Blade Talon with nice skills on it. And the reason for Strength is the 25 Crushing Blow. You've got a bunch of life, you've got Strength, which means in the end you've got Vitality, so you just get a nice pool of Vitality. I mean, every point you spare in the stat Strength is more life that you're going to put in your vitality. And a scimitar is pretty quick, just like the blade talon. But know that a cutlass is even faster, but it's not needed. Because you're gonna use a 20 IS glove to reach the max attack speed without burst of speed. Teleport staff on switch, and of course against the Ubers, a life tap when to cast a life tap. And a rhyme for they cannot be frozen, but also for a big amount of block. And also you got some resist in there, and Magic Find is just a really nice shield. I always shop for 20 IS glove and like a plated belt for 90 life, and that can be bought in L1, LAC 1. Boots. The boots here I show like the cheap option, which is you take any worm hide and you go to Char City and imbue them, and you just stick with those. But otherwise, the worm hide are not necessarily available in Nightmare. So shark skin, any shark skin boots or any mesh boots is gonna do the trick. The idea is to have boots that have high damage but that are not heavy. So that's why the worm hide is the best. And have one poison charm for the Ubers. And what you need on the charm is, well, you don't need it, but it's nice to have one with a lot of length, like 5 seconds is cool. Because when you fight Bell and, well, all the Ubers that are not poison immune, you can just use the poison charm and literally not have any open wounds, and it's gonna work. Because when they get poisoned, they don't heal. But yeah, against Mephisto and Lilith, you need open wounds. So that's why I suggest that you make duress or that you buy for one of the open wounds armor. Jewelry, just resist. FCR is always nice to have a faster mind blast and a faster teleport, and also casting your shadow quickly. But stealth already has 25, so it's pretty okay that way. Oh yeah, here I show the FCR breakpoints. So you got 8, 16, 27, and 42. And it goes higher than that, but I just listed those because higher than that, you're pushing your lock, and you don't need that. You're not dueling, so. And stealth has 25 FCR, so you miss the 27 just barely. So you could make like a belt with just 5 FCR and you would reach a 27. That's an option. Otherwise, you put 2 rings or a ring and an amulet with 10 FCR and you're going to reach a 42 there. Faster hit recovery is actually pretty important. Otherwise, when you're trying to kick and you might get stunned. So the break point are 27, 48, and 86. And if you do make duress, it has a lot of faster hit recovery, and you could reach the 86 with some charms or FHR somewhere else. But yeah, the 48 is okay. 27 is sort of easy to get. Yeah, in the end, you want to have like 60 strength. And if you go high budget, and I laugh when I say it because it's not really high budget, but the early ladder, the goblin toes are costly. So if you up the goblin toes, I think you end up at 95 strength. The damage is lower than a wormhide, but yeah, you get 25 crushing blow, which means you're gonna kill way faster. And dex, you want max block, and I think you end up at about 200 dex, and it's gonna help the attack rating also. So yeah, always put your rhyme, put all of the dex you've got and charms and everything to to be at 75 versus the Ubers. And again, for attack rating, I suggest using an actually enchant merc. So the fun thing about that is that the merc is gonna cast enchant, and if he dies afterward, it's not, you keep your enchant, of course. Just be careful of killing your merc before entering Arbitristem, otherwise he might wake all the monster up, the three Ubers like a dumbass. So that's for... I just wanted to say something about nil attack. The way I do it when I enter his room is that I cast Cloak of Shadow, then I cast my shadow right next to nil attack, lay down a bunch of then I mind blast, lay down like the maximum number of death sentry, and so nil attack is gonna start popping corpse next to the shadow and the monsters that were converted by mind blast, and the death sentry is just gonna do a giant mess of his room. But sometimes he actually survives that. That's when you need to teleport on him and just kick him. But I suggest also putting a town portal, because you might just get popped by him once in a while. And that's why I wouldn't play that in hardcore, because you're going to end up dying at some point. But in hardcore, I would play my hardcore barb. So the pros of the hardcore barb is it's hard to kill, so that's a big plus. And it's also the best at surviving a disconnect because you've got a ton of HP. And it's actually pretty fast to move around, because you've got leap and you've got increased speed. Your faster casting is actually pretty good. So with a teleport staff on switch, he's going to tele quickly around. Also, you've got Owl. And Owl is so nice because it scares all the monsters away. So that's another way to not die. You just scare all the monsters away if you get in any sort of trouble. And it's really godly versus the Ubers, because you can scare away all the ads of Mephisto, Bell, and Diablo. Now the bad points is that the damage is low, and people might want to argue, but no, the damage is always low. And it looks good until you're like end of Act 2. You can really see a drop in damage, something that you won't see with Hammered In. And against the Ubers, it's sort of slow also. It's safe, but it's slow. And I don't use life tap because my weapons, because I use cheap stuff, there's no damage there. So you actually need some rejuice. And I like to spray the map, well, the fighting ground, where I'm going to fight the Ubers, with a bunch of potions. So I don't have to go back to town and just cheese them, basically. So the leveling, to level 30, I suggest only 1 point in double swing. You don't need to put points in there. Yeah, you can just drink potion. And anyway, you're going to switch to leap attack later. So 1 point in double swing and just drink some potion. You can make a helm with Sapphire in them just to have more mana. That's a nice idea. 1 point in Mace Mastery. again, don't go crazy on the Mace Mastery. I like to put a point in stamina, because yeah, there's a lot of running to get to level 30. Then I just drop everything in leap and leap attack. In Act 1 and Act 2, you should throw a poison potion. So that's it has a nice area damage, and and the monsters are sort of weak in Act 1, especially, and they're gonna die from that stupid poison. Also 2 scepters. Hopefully with 2 open socket, and you put like chip rubies and chip topaz in them. Otherwise, at 18, yeah, try to get as much tir in your equipment. Like a helm with 2 tir is really nice, because at level 18, that's when you're gonna start to leap, attack, and that uses a lot of mana. But tir gives you mana after each kill, or I mean, it's early. It's a league starter, so you might not have a lot of tir or no tir at all. Otherwise, there's it runes. It is going to give you mana when you get it. So that's another way to generate mana. And in Act 2, you can shop for any triumphant wand. Like, there are some that give you 4 mana after each kill, so that's really nice. It's going to keep your mana up. It's not going to fill it entirely, but it's going to be better. Because otherwise you're just going to pot all the time, and you're going to need to go down, typically. Ancient Pledge does have also has a mana, damage goes to mana, so that's probably the shield you should use. Along with the resist, you've got damage to mana. So level 30, you just switch to Warcry. Is it Warcry in the name? Yeah, Warcry. You become a singer. Yeah. And I would suggest 30 to 60 or even 70. And you need a nice weapon to ditch the singer. And the singer is okay, a bit like the kicker until like Act 2, Act 3 in L. Then the damage is sort of crap. If you've got a nice weapon, switching there is gonna mean you're gonna kill like elites faster with either Whirlwind or Berserk. But for like a big amount of monster, like you kill little monster faster with as a singer, and it doesn't require nice gear. So that's the idea of using a singer. So like there I wrote 11 natural resist. No, that's 1+. Yeah, like at least a point in natural resist and maybe more. Increased speed, I like to have 1 or 2 points. More than 2, the bonus is not that great. Of course, you max Warcry. I max Owl because it saves your bot, and it's a bonus to Warcry. Battle orders, yeah, you just max it. You're in hardcore, max battle orders, and the rest you put in Battle Cry. And Battle Cry is gonna, you can cast it against elites and that don't get stunned because they're gonna do less damage. Same thing as against the boss. I like to have 1 or 2 points in leap. So especially in Act 2, when you go kill the summoner, you can jump around. And even when I run for an attack, I use leap. You don't want to use the teleport staff all the time. Leaping is actually a bit safer because when you drop it, it's gonna knock back the monster, and it's sort of it's safe-ish. Equipment, just put as much mana as you can. Like a ring with 40 mana is good. The resist, you don't need that much resist because you stun everything. And anyway, you've got battle orders up the wazoo, so you're gonna have a lot of HP. Yeah, just get mana. Like a helm with 2 flawless sapphire is good. And I think about this using insight, but you can wield the insight. You don't need a merc because yeah, you're gonna get some faster casting, some mana, if I'm not mistaken, on insight. Of course, if you you could use also spirit sword. So in that case, you put the insight on the merc, but yeah, think about using your own insight. You don't depend on the merc, so if he dies, it's not a problem. So maybe like using a merc with some crushing blow, or like some big damage is going to be helpful. So that's an option. So when you do get a nice 2-ender with a lot of damage, then you can respect. And this is what I suggest. So you're gonna max the weapon mastery, and usually you should use like a mace or a staff, because I don't know, the high damage stuff is pretty nice in a mace. Staff are rare, are a lot rarer, but yeah, elite staff hit really hard. And the problem with, say, a sword is that you need so much strength invested and dexterity on top. So, in my eye, just fuck that. Just go mace. Mace is the best. And staff also. And yeah, know that the weapon mastery mace covers staff. So you can use a staff with a mace mastery. Yeah, like at least 4 points natural resist, and don't forget that you're gonna go to Albert Tristan. So yeah, having a big natural resist is gonna help you there against Mephisto. Again, same thing, increase speed, leap, and you can put 1 point in double swing, because Albert Bale is really a pain in the ass to kill, especially with a Barbie. If you do it with cheap gear, you're gonna see that he's painful. So having double swing is gonna like make it a bit quicker. And there I put 1 point, at least a point in Whirlwind, at least a point in Berserk, and I put a plus sign there. So if you know which skill you're gonna run the most, just you could put a lot of points in, say, Whirlwind. Or maybe you want to put more points in Berserk. So I leave that open. But by maxing the Mace Mastery instead of, say, Berserk, yeah, your Whirlwind is going to be boosted also by the Mace Mastery. So, yeah, I don't know exactly which one of those. I think Berserk is the best for damage, but Whirlwind kills a trash mob faster. So yeah, it's tough to decide. Yeah, max battle order, we're in hardcore. Max owl, because it's so good against the Ubers. And it's also really nice when you enter Nilatax's room, and you want a 20, because the radius is bigger. And the monster run for much more time. So yeah, I really suggest to max owl. And another benefit is that owl is gonna boost your berserk damage. You can put like a point in final item. I'm probably not gonna do it, Battle command, of course, 1 point, and battle cry for the Ubers, because you scrap their defense, scrap their damage, you're gonna hit less hard, so yeah, you want that. We're not gonna use life tap, so battle cry is nice there. Yeah, so for the gear, I listed a bunch of stuff that you can use that is really cheap, like Insight, Hustle, Black, Unbending Wheel. And Unbending Wheel, I'm not sold on that because, like I said, the swords require a lot of stats. So maybe, yeah, not sold. Obedience and Honor is another option. It's a really cheap rune word. Yeah, just a big two-ender. And there's some Unix that also has nice damage, like Bone Snap and a Steel Driver. If you up those, the damage is really nice, and it's not. It doesn't have a big strength requirement. IKML with 2L is gonna be the same requirement as a upped Bone Snap. But the problem with IKML is that you need 76 level, so that's a big problem. And know that you can use elite staff also. The stats are really low and the average damage is really high. And you can put insight in those. Yeah, you can put also. And if you roll 5, you could put honor, but check, because I mean it's okay to to try to put some sockets there with the crafting, but know that these things can sell for a lot of foreign gold. So I'm gonna try to roll my staffs, but if I hit something that is in demand, I'm just gonna sell it. And if I miss, I'm just gonna put like a hustle or insight in it, and that's gonna be my weapon. Yeah, of course, the thing with using a two-ender is that you can't use rhyme. So I think the easiest way to fix that problem is just a health M, because it cannot be frozen, along with some life and some cold bonus. Armor, always stealth. Otherwise, the best is probably hustle, because you move so quickly with that, and you've got a bonus to attack speed, which is a nice combo with slow two-enders. Otherwise, smoke is something to consider. Lion art is going to give you a lot of strength to be able to lift something that is heavy. And if you use a sword, yeah, it's going to give you dexterity on top of that. Jewelry, yeah, again, resist. A nice to have is some attack rating or some leech there. Boots, just go with some 40 faster run walk. This can be shopped in, in Act 1, either Nightmare or L. Gloves, 20 IS, because most likely you're gonna be slow with your two-ender, so you need to boost that up. And belt, yeah, just a 90 life belt always does the trick. Otherwise, you can try to blood craft one, just for the leech. If you're using Whirlwind, having more leech is a good idea. Yeah, again, Poison Charm 1, just use 1. For the same reason that I told with the kicker. And for the Ubers on Switch, something that is not really known, but it's really good. You can use General Tandoliga along with a Rhyme Shield. And General Tandoliga is going to slow the Uber by 50%. That is really violent. So that's like a lot. That's like 50 damage reduce, which is crazy. because the monster hits you slowly, so you take less damage. And in hardcore, you want that. And General Tandoliga can be found for 5 or 10 forum gold. And it's something that people actually, they charge to that item, but it's really, really nice. And I use concentrate, so that way each hit you're gonna swing is gonna hit. Right, no, it's not gonna hit, but you're not gonna be interrupted if you block or if you go in stun mode. So yeah, that's the idea, but that's why you want to use concentrate. Otherwise, use Malice and Rhyme, and the idea is that you switch to General Tando, get a hit there, and then the monster is slowed for like 30 seconds, then switch back to Malice. And Malice gives you open wounds, so the monster is not going to heal, and it also demolishes his defense. Because you'll see that you have got a lot of problem to it with a barb, but once you swing a lot with the Malice flail, yeah, his defense, and I say flail, but it can be like a sword also. Malice can be made in everything. And yeah, so his defense is going to go down, and the first half of his HP is sort of slow, but then it sort of picks up. That's why, yeah, I use Malice. Otherwise, using a Bulwark Helm instead of the Art is an idea, because you don't need Art since you're using Rhymes. And versus Mephisto, 4 Orts is going to give you like 120 Lightning Resist, which sort of covers up his aura, so yeah, that armor is pretty nice. And for boots, you need some crushing blow somewhere, so that's why you need Goblin Toes. So you've got Malice for the open wounds and the charm. And you've got the Goblin Toes to apply crushing blow. And it's sort of slow, and the damage is low, but yeah, it's gonna kill him in the end. If your attack speed is nice enough, you can craft a blood-crafted glove also. And versus Oberbale, like I said earlier, yeah, you can use, instead of using Rhyme with the Malice Flail, you can use like a Strength instead. And then you need to use Art Helm, because cannot be frozen. And then you use Double Swing. So that's going to kill the boss more quickly. You could try to use Whirlwind, but I'm pretty sure you're going to run out of mana really quick. But I still keep on Switch the General Tando and the Rhyme. And you hit Bell with the General Tando Liga, and he's going to be super slow. And then you just smash him with Double Swing when you switch back. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do in Season 9.